Good morning, guys. I'm recording this. Well, good morning, I guess. It's good morning for me. I'm recording this super early in the morning. I apologize if I say anything weird. I'm barely awake right now. I just got to work. It's still dark out. So I'm going to, in this lecture, walk you through Essay 2 and what I'm expecting, what the assignment is, give you a little example, just sort of explain it. The essay is up in the Canvas classroom, like a written version of it, so you can look at the essay assignment there. Wow, that's a lot of text, isn't it? I think you're not supposed to do that in PowerPoints, but that's okay. So this is essay assignment 2. It builds on what you did in essay assignment 1. So in essay 1, you practice some rhetorical analysis. In this essay assignment, you'll be practicing some rhetorical analysis again, but instead of analyzing a written text, you'll be analyzing a visual text. Now that you've read some things in your textbook that kind of deal with the visual rhetoric of images, you can apply those parts of the textbook to this essay, or to your writing this essay. So the suggested length for this, I'm just going to get the formatting and nitty-gritty stuff out of the way first, the picky little details. The suggested length for this essay is 2 to 3 pages, as was the case in essay 1. That's not a hard and fast requirement, that's a suggestion, it's a recommendation. So if you want to know roughly how long this essay should be and what to shoot for, that's what to shoot for. So if you're double spacing this and you're using a 12-point Times New Roman font, it should be about 2 to 3 pages long if you're doing what I'm asking. So the formatting requirements are MLA formatting and source citation. And oop, I missed a parenthesis there, didn't I? Anyway, even though you're only using one source for this essay, the advertisement that you'll be writing about, you should still cite it. It's just a good habit to get into, and it's good practice for 102 when you'll be doing more research. So Times New Roman font, 12 point. Ooh, I should have said double space, but double space it. 1 inch margins on all sides. And now the assignment itself. So you've read about visual rhetoric. You read about it in our textbook. It's discussed throughout parts 1 through 3, which you have now read, I hope. And our book emphasizes that arguments can come in written forms. They can come in spoken forms, but they can also be visual. So an argument can be an image, or a series of images. And advertisements are an example of this. And I think they're a really interesting example of it because advertisements are trying to get you to do something, or buy something, or take action, or buy a product, or buy a service, or whatever. And so there's clearly like a purpose behind the ad. It's advertising something. And so it's interesting to consider what that purpose is and then how the person who made the ad or the organization who made the ad tried to sort of make this argument. So what I'd like you to do for your second essay is find some kind of visual advertisement that you'd like to analyze. And this can be from a print source like a newspaper or a magazine. It can be some kind of flyer, I guess. It can be uh, some sort of visual media like television. It can be a TV ad. I guess it could be an ad on YouTube or something like that. A web source. It can be a web advertisement of some kind, but just make sure it's actually an advertisement, not just some image that you find somewhere, but a true ad. And then what I'd like you to do, so it's advertising a product or a service basically. Write an essay in which you draw our attention, so the reader's attention, to the purpose of the ad, and then after that expose the rhetorical tactics that are used to achieve this purpose. So what is the ad for, and how does it try to get you to buy it or get you to do whatever it wants you to do? I mean, I guess there are ads that are for like they're sort of like public service announcement type ads that aren't really for purchasing a product necessarily, and those would work. Um, Anyway, so then what I'd like you to do after that is comment on the ad's effectiveness in using these rhetorical tactics that you've identified. So does the ad appeal to our emotions, or does it appeal to our sense of, reason or ethics, or what does the ad do? How is it trying to reach the viewer? So make sure to clearly identify what the ad is for. Make sure that you're sort of stating that in your essay. Who the intended audience is. So who do you think that this advertiser is trying to reach, and how can you tell? And that could have to do with the publication that it appears in, or the place that it appears in. Who tends to be the audience for this newspaper or web series or YouTube video or TV show, I don't know, it's early, I'm trying to think of examples here, where the thing came from. So try to, explain where this ad came from. Where did it appear? Where was it published? Or where did it show up? And then what is it affiliated with? So is it like a corporation made it and paid for it to appear? Or a small company, a small business? Or some sort of like nonprofit organization? Or just, a person. I guess that's less likely for one person to just create an ad and put it somewhere, but I suppose it does happen. And then why they made the thing. So why did this organization or company make this ad? What's their purpose in doing it? And if you can't tell those things and it's not clear where the ad came from and you just like found it on some random website and you can't tell who made it or what it's trying to advertise, don't use it. So definitely use an ad that you can answer these questions about. Because in order to determine whether an ad's really effective in doing what it's intended to do, you've got to first consider who made it and why they made it. This is an important piece of the assignment. So the structure of this essay should look like that of your first essay. So you should first sort of like sum up what's in the ad and explain it. And then after that, you should sort of expose what sorts of rhetorical tactics the ad is using, what kind of visual rhetoric the ad is using to reach the viewer. And then after that, you should evaluate the effectiveness of the ad. But you don't necessarily have to write a 5-paragraph essay like you did in the first assignment. If you want to do that and it feels safe to you and it's simple and you sort of like are familiar with that format, you're welcome to write a 5-paragraph essay. But if you want to go beyond that and you need a few paragraphs for each of these different pieces of the essay, so you find that you need a few paragraphs to sort of expose the rhetorical tactics, if you need a few paragraphs to evaluate the effectiveness of the ad or whatever, you have the freedom to do that now. So this doesn't have to be limited to a 5-paragraph essay. Still, your essay should have at least 5 paragraphs, so you shouldn't be writing fewer than 5 paragraphs. If you want to write more, that's fine, but your essay should have at least an introduction and a conclusion, and then 3 body paragraphs, one doing each of those things that I just mentioned. So again, summing up sort of like what the ad is and where it came from and all that good stuff, and then explicating the visual rhetoric of the ad, and then evaluating its effectiveness. That ends up adding up to 5 paragraphs, if I'm counting right here. And then your thesis statement, as was the case in the first essay, should still be the last sentence of your intro. That's just kind of standard in academic writing. Here's an example of an ad that I just pulled off the web. Do people even say that anymore? Pulled off the web? Anyway, I found it on the internet just a little while ago. So this is an ad for McDonald's. You can probably tell that. And it has 2 hamburgers stacked on top of each other. I guess that's what is it, a Whopper or a Big Mac, or I don't know. Some specific type of burger, maybe you guys know. And the ad says, the thing you want when you order salad. So it's got this red background. It's very like bright, I guess. It's kind of warm looking. It just invites you in. The hamburger looks delicious. The lettuce looks fresh and crispy. There's a hint of it kind of being healthy there because there's all this like vegetation spilling out of it, so it kind of almost seems like it would be sort of wholesome, and you can see the sesame seeds piled on top of the bun there. But the slogan there is interesting. So the thing you want when you order salad, it's kind of appealing to that treat yourself mentality, I guess, or the just go ahead and do what you want to do. Don't skimp, don't order salad, don't just eat rabbit food, like get the thing you really want, sort of. So it's appealing to your emotions and to your desires for the thing you're craving. Don't just get the salad, get the burger. And then the I'm loving it is interesting. I don't know, you could probably do something with that. It's kind of an outdated slogan now, I guess. Is that even their slogan anymore? I don't know. It used to be. I remember hearing ads on the radio that would end with "I'm loving it," and there was a little song that would go along with it, sort of. So, anyway, this is an example of the kind of ad that I'm thinking it would be interesting to analyze for this assignment. You can probably do better than this, but this is one I found when I was trying to search for fast food ads because I was thinking it would be interesting to analyze a fast food ad for whatever reason. As an example for you guys, I was finding a lot of them that were like, I don't know, a lot of them were kind of shocking and weird and vaguely sexual. So anyway, I'm sure you'll be able to find something interesting. It doesn't have to be a fast food ad. It can be an ad for anything. Um, car ads are always interesting too. So anyway, enough of that. The process for Essay 2 looks like this. So first what I'd like you to do, and this might go without saying, is read my comments on your first essay. You've gotten those back now. If you don't see comments showing up on your first essay, please let me know. I did comment on everybody's draft, or on everybody's essay that I received. So I filled out a grading rubric, but then I also left a bunch of comments. Some of the comments are attached to your essay, some of the comments are in the comment box on the side. If you're trying to view the comments on a phone, it might be a little bit more challenging. I've heard from my students that you can find the comments, but you have to just kind of know where to look. So if you're having a hard time finding my comments on whatever sort of device you're using, please let me know and I can help you find them. Or if I can't help you find them, I can tell you who can help you. So read those first. That's a good starting point, just so you sort of know what you did well on your first essay and what you need to work on for essay 2, because it's the same kind of assignment. And then after that, choose the visual ad that you want to use. And again, make sure it's an ad that actually is for something and you can tell what it's for and you can tell like where it appeared originally, and it's not just on some sort of like website that aggregates a bunch of different, is aggregates even the right word? I don't know. A website that compiles together a bunch of different ads for purposes like this. Make sure it's an ad that you're finding like in the wild so you can tell where it was originally put. So was it put at the beginning of a YouTube video, or was it put in the newspaper, or was it put in a magazine, or like where did this thing show up? And make sure it's an ad that you can tell make sure you can tell what the ad is for, I guess, and who is the one who's financing it. So what's the agenda here? So choose a cool ad, and then after that, reread the parts of the textbook that cover visual rhetoric, particularly chapters 14 and 16. Those are kind of heavy on the explaining visual rhetoric. After this, write a draft. That probably goes without saying, but write a draft, and then submit your draft for peer review. This will happen just like it did last time, so the date is in the syllabus. The date for the peer review is in the syllabus. The date will also be in the summary page at the beginning of the weekly module, that weekly overview. So make sure you pay attention to when the due date is for the draft for peer review versus when the due date is to actually complete the review, because they're not the same date. So there are two dates attached to this peer review. One date is when you have to actually submit your draft so you can get matched up with somebody to do the peer review, and then the other date is the date that you have to complete the peer review that you're assigned by. And to complete that peer review, some of you missed this in the first peer review, make sure you're following all the directions posted in the module in Canvas, and make sure you're answering all of the questions that I'm posting. So there is a specific document in the module for the same week that we're doing the peer review that has instructions for the peer review and like an explanation of how to complete it and a list of questions you need to answer about your peer's draft and like how to submit it. Make sure you follow all the directions there in that document so that you can get full credit. Because this isn't a very difficult assignment, it's just kind of maybe for some of you difficult to locate those instructions or to figure out like what you're supposed to be doing. But I did put up a document in the module during the week when the peer review is happening that has instructions for how to complete the review. So locate that. If you can't find it, let me know, but I think it's right there and pretty easy to see. I think it's titled something like Instructions for Completing Peer Review. And then after this, after you get feedback from the peer review, or even if you don't get feedback from the peer review, revise your essay. So there will be instructions for how to revise. There will be well, you already got instructions for how to revise when before the first essay was due, but there will be more instructions for how to revise this essay. So revise your essay, spend some time digesting the peer review feedback you got, thinking about what choices you want to make in terms of revision, and then don't forget to submit it to me for grading. So even if you turned it in for the peer review, you still need to also submit it to me for grading, and the date for that's in the syllabus. So if you have any questions about this assignment as you're working on it, please don't hesitate to get in touch with me. I'd be happy to help you.